everybody, it's story time. Alright, so this video is called Crone's Blessing, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, and I don't think any witch should mean that in a derogatory way. So this is a story about something that actually happened to me, and it might be a little lengthy, but I'll try to keep it short. So, when I was in college, I was studying criminal justice, and, I was only there for a year, but I used to really like to go to all their social events. They had dances and, like, spaghetti feeds. I never went to any of those, but themed nights, you know, where they would bring out the background of the red carpet, and they would take pictures, and a lot of times they brought, like snakes and spiders and stuff. They did that on Halloween. There was a casino night, and that was really weird. Everybody showed up in club wear, except me. I didn't do that, but anyway, so I used to go to a lot of those social events, and one of them was this, what's the right word? A psychic that worked for the police department, or they had worked with the police department before. You probably would have seen that in a lot of TV shows where, you know, they go to the psychic and they're like, hey, here's this thing, tell me where the person is. And they would have a vision about where the person is, where their body is, who they were, etc. Sometimes they'd even say that the person is telling them that they were drowned or stabbed or whatever. So, one time, there was one of these people, and I don't remember her name, which is a real bummer, because if I did, I would probably go and, like, they probably honestly have a video of that show that she did. It's less of a show and more of like I think she was advertising her book, so she was up on stage just, like, giving a speech to people and then doing, like, a handful of readings. So I went with my mother, and I'm sitting in the audience, listening to this lady go on about all of these psychic things she's done, especially solving crimes in the police force, and this is all about her new book. And I was the first person in the whole audience to ask for a reading, which it wasn't necessarily probably the best move, but I don't even remember what I asked her. I asked her probably, do you see my future? Or I don't know. I was like 18. So, I don't exactly remember the question that I asked her, but she basically told me, like, yeah, I see you traveling a lot, and at the time, that's all I wanted to do. I mean, it's still all that I want to do, but it was very spot on more for me at the time because of everything that I had planned, and she's like, yeah, you need to get in a plane and just fly somewhere. And at the time, I was trying to go through private pilot training, but that kind of fell through because I'm poor. So after I asked this psychic lady the question, a bunch of other people in the audience started asking for readings as well. And there is this old woman sitting next to me, and she had honestly like the babushka vibe with the hat and the dark cloak. And she was sitting next to me, and I think she'd been talking to me, like, the whole time. I think we were having a conversation. Anyway, but, I was wearing this ring, which is a bottle opener, by the way. I bought it on the coast. I think I was probably 17, probably the year before. So I bought it on the coast, and I used to wear it a lot, and I haven't worn it really since then, until 2 weeks ago. So this lady who's sitting next to me, she gets all, like, this weird look in her face, and she's like, oh my god, you remind me so much of my mother. Here, give me your hand. So, and I had this ring on, and so I was like, okay. And she's just telling me how much I remind her of her mother, and that her mother is telling me something. Like I say, I don't really remember because at the time I was quite freaked out. Her mother is telling me something about all of this power that I have or something. It's basically like the weird preemptive "you're the chosen one" speech. I don't really remember. But at the time I was just completely freaked out, but I was trying to be polite at the same time. And I was like, okay. And this was a really old lady, so her mother had to have been long gone. So that was freaking me out a little bit as well. And she's like, "I'm gonna put all of my mother's energy into your ring." And I'm like, wait, what? Okay, what? Why? Why would you? Whoa, hey, stop. I didn't say that, but I was there. That's what was going on in my mind. So, and then after that, I just felt so weird that I took it off. And I tried to cleanse it and just get rid of anything that I thought was in it. Because it had freaked me out so much. I'm like, what if this wasn't good intentions? What if this was some weird thing that this lady was giving me that I didn't want necessarily? So it wasn't bad. Like, she wasn't trying to say, you know, "you're cursed" or something like this. She was trying to help. And in the same way, because like I say, she said I reminded her of her mother. So she gave me all of her mother's blessings, I guess. Now, I haven't worn it since, like I say, about 2 weeks ago. So I put it back on, and no matter how many times I had cleansed it or, you know, tried to consecrate it, nothing really had changed and still had the same weird vibe. Because I firmly believe that she did what she said she did, and now it wasn't necessarily all of my own. So I didn't wear it at all until when I put it back on, and I thought, well, it doesn't really matter what religion you're from. If you're giving somebody a blessing, it's a blessing. No matter what faith you're from, if it's good intentions, it's good intentions. And the same thing for curses. If you curse somebody in one religion, I think that bad mojo carries across to any religion, whatever you believe in. So I figured, okay, well, it's a blessing. I might as well just take it at face value. There's nothing I can do about it. It was nice of her to give me a blessing that I didn't ask for. And then it kind of started to, I don't know. I firmly believe it was part of the same thing. Because, and I always am super sensitive to, like, car crash, spirits, or anything that's still kind of bound to especially the road, which, and this has been going on my entire life. If you just see one of those crosses on the road, and it'll be within, 3 to 15 seconds, and you get the shivers. And I always take that as getting, like, if the spirit tried to attach to you, and just shake it all out. And I've been doing that forever. Because those car crash victims are some of the worst, like, most violently separated spirits that I can even think of. And so when I was wearing this, it was within the first couple of days, and we went to this really bad intersection, and I have seen crashes there several times, like, personally. And we went to this intersection, and I just, like, started having this vision, and that's really never occurred for me before. And I started having this vision of this wrecked car, and then seeing, like, the newspaper headline. And what I saw from the headline, this was in 95, which is odd to me because it was so long ago. But at the same time, then I get the feeling that there was 2 kids in the car and a mom. And that the kids weren't necessarily still there. You know what I mean? I didn't feel them sitting there watching in any sense. But the mom, this woman, was standing, like, on the street corner. And we went past the intersection. I was trying to go to work. And she was still there, and I couldn't get rid of the image in my mind of this woman just standing there pleading with me to save her kids. And then I was like, kind of, okay, let's try and do this. I've never really done this before. And she was saying that her kids blamed her for what had happened to them. I'm like, no, of course not. You're their mother. They don't blame you. And they were little, like, as far as what I could tell. They're very little. So, and she was in hysterics. And so I'd like to think that I helped her because We went over and over the situation again, and I had to reassure her that no, your kids don't blame you. It's okay. Go find them. Go to them. Don't hang around this street corner anymore. And it was a very intense, like I say, a very intense vision, and I was shivering and I wouldn't stop, and I was shaking in it. And then I felt this pain in my chest that I assumed was one of them being hit and crushed to death or impaled or something that accompanied the vision. So, yeah, that happened as soon as I started wearing this. And nothing really else has happened since then, but I feel like it's probably a lot to do with the thing about that woman's mother having been long dead, and that she gave me her blessing. It might have been more of like a spirit blessing, like a working with the spirits thing. I'm not making much sense, am I? Anyway, that's kind of what I got from that. And like I say, nothing has happened of that type since then, and it was a couple weeks ago now. I just thought it was an interesting story, and I am continuing to wear this because I have a hard time wearing rings, but I have kept this one on for quite a while, even at work and everything else. So, that was the Crone's blessing. And it might help me communicate with the other side in more situations. And that's okay with me. So, that was story time for everybody. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. Peace.